Okay, Algebra 2, we've got lesson 6.8. You can see we're just going to add and subtract polynomials. Guys, if you're adding polynomials, please always pay attention to that plus sign right there in the middle. Please also understand if you ever have just an x cubed or just anything with an x, there's a 1 out in front of it if you don't see a specific number. This is nothing more than adding like terms. Look at this. 2x cubed plus 1x cubed would be 3x cubed. And we can take a 4x squared and a minus 6x squared. 4 plus negative 6 is negative 2. We've got a negative 1x that cannot combine with anything. And that's going to be okay. So you could write a minus 1x or just a minus x. Finally, you've got a 9 and a minus 1.
Plus 8.
And that's going to be a plus 8. All right? So from here, you're done. Now, you're going to get problems just like this. The subtraction, of course, you've got to be a little bit more careful. The subtraction, and we've been writing this all year, DTN, distribute that negative. So rewrite it just real quickly. The first parenthesis, you don't even have to change it whatsoever. But as I am subtracting this second expression, that negative is going to get applied everywhere. Every sign changes. Okay, and please don't try to do this in your head. That's where you make those silly mistakes, and this should be free points for you. It really should. It should be a grade booster. So just take the moment to distribute that negative, and then you combine your like terms. There is, oh, and forgive me, I miscopied that. That's a minus 9x cubed. So 2x cubed minus 9x cubed is a minus 7x cubed. There are no other x squared terms to put together. We'll just say a minus 5x squared. We've got a minus 10x and a plus 1x. That's going to be a minus 9x. And then we're going to put minus 11. And we're done. Okay? So again, something that hopefully you can do quickly and easily. The next part of the lesson is something that we've already done. It's kind of like free points once again. It's multiplication of polynomials. Look, FOIL. 2x times 3x is a 6x squared. 2x times 4 is an 8x. Minus 7 times 3x is a minus 21x. And minus 7 times 4 is a negative 28. At this point, put your like terms together. And an 8x minus 21x, you could quickly confirm, is going to be a minus 13x. And you can always use a calculator if you struggle with adding signed numbers. For letter B, whenever you have something squared, please watch out. This is the problem where I think if we rush through this a little too quickly, we're going to make a mistake. Don't just think that you're squaring the first term and the last term. Squaring really means multiply to itself. And that means FOIL. So again, just be patient, write it out. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times negative 4x is minus 20x. Here's another minus 20x. And negative 4x times a negative 4x is a plus 16x squared. Then look for your like terms. My final answer I'm going to write over here, but a minus 20x and a minus 20x is a negative 40x. And that's it. That's your final answer. You can see we're moving pretty quickly here. But when we get to our last two, you can see that these expressions are a little bit bigger. Now, the good news is, guys, you actually have the exact same work that's going to take place. You just have to be patient here. The x squared is going to get multiplied to both of these. X squared times 3x is a 3x cubed. X squared times a minus 2 is a minus 2x squared. 4x times 3 would be a 12x squared. And a 4x times a minus 2 would get you a minus 8x. There's one last thing that you're going to have to do, and I'm going to even change the color to just make it stand out. You got to distribute that minus 7. The minus 7 times 3x is a minus 21x, and the minus 7 times a negative 2 would be a plus 14. Now the cool thing is your like terms are actually lined up pretty close to each other. You can see that the x squared terms, negative 2 and 12, would add up to a 10, so that's a 10x squared. And a negative 8 and a minus 21 would get you a minus 29x. And there are no other like terms to put together. You're done. Our last problem of the day is really the exact same thought process, the exact same strategy. It's just a tiny bit more complicated. Take your x squared and distribute that to all three things here. You'll have x squared times 3x squared. That's a 3x to the 4th. X squared times the 2x would get you a 2x cubed. X squared times 1, well, you'd have a 1x squared. Then you can take your 4x and distribute. And if you want to erase to, see arrows, you could. But regardless, you're just going to distribute that 4x everywhere. That's going to be 4x times 3x squared. That's a 12x squared. 4x times 2x is an 8. Actually, it's 12x cubed. I'm sorry. 4x times 3x squared is a 12x cubed. 4x times 2x is an 8x squared. And 4x times 1 is just going to be a 4x. We have one final distribution, and that's going to be distributing that negative 7. And once you do that, you'll be able to start adding like terms. You'll have a minus 21x squared, negative 7 times 3x squared. Negative 7 times 2 is a negative 14. You get negative 14x. And negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. So right now, just pay attention to your highest power. It's x to the 4th. You only have one of them. But look at your x cubes, and if you want to circle these or put boxes around them, you can. You can see that a 2x cubed and a 12x cubed add up to a 14x cubed. X squared terms, you're going to have several of them. You've got 3 of them. You've got a 1x squared and an 8x squared. And that's going to add up to 9x squared, but then 9x squared minus 21x squared. 9x minus 12, you get minus 21, I am so sorry, is a negative 12x squared. Yeah, you just got to be patient. And if that's what's slowing you down, put that into the calculator. 1 plus 8 minus 21. You can get help in that regard. But then what? Well, you're going to have this x term and this x term. 4x minus 14x is a minus 10x. Finally, you've got your minus 7, and then you're done. Okay, so